Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So glad you're here. I got a lot of great responses from the last episode, just a little bit of real, raw truth with you guys. And so I thought the next best thing to do is talk about how to heal your relationship with food as a former athlete, especially if you have competed in a physique-based sport. So like gymnastics, swimmers and divers as well. And wrestlers is a big one because there's weight cutting involved. A lot of former athletes have never had to track their nutrition because frankly, you could eat whatever you wanted to, especially if you were training super hard, you were elite level college athlete. If you eat well, as far as food quality, you eat often and you're fueling your performance, it kind of just all evens out. This is for if you have competed in one of the sports that I just mentioned, or let's say post athletic career, you went on to do things like bikini competition or do some sort of extreme hard dieting for whatever reason. This is for you. This is for you if you struggle with quote unquote discipline, you feel like you don't have a lot of willpower, you feel like food actually consumes your brain, you have a lot of food noise, we call it. You, get home at the end of a work day and you open up your pantry and you like just can't get your hand out of the fucking chip bag. This is for you. So I'm going to talk to you about how to heal your relationship with food. I will preface in saying this is not medical advice. This is not mental health advice. If you think that you have an eating disorder, I really encourage you to seek help, to seek professional help. This is not it, but hopefully something that I say resonates with you and it might shift your mindset. And maybe that's all that you need. But if you need a level deeper, I would encourage you to get help. So if you're a former athlete who struggles with their relationship with food, maybe things got a little complicated after you competed, after you dieted, whatever it might be, this is for you. Losing control around food isn't really the problem, or discipline isn't the problem. That's usually a symptom. And today we're going to talk about some strategies that I've helped our athletes use without swinging too much to the other extreme. If you haven't watched last week's episode, I'd highly recommend that you watch that before watching this one, because I talk about my own struggles, and that kind of paves the way for this conversation. To give you just a quick recap, I competed in 4 bodybuilding shows. After my third one was my biggest rebound. I gained like 35 pounds in about 2 months, and I could not be around sweets. I remember, and I didn't actually share this in my last video, but every single night before I went to bed, during that 20-week competition prep, I had a Pinterest board, and it was about all these like different desserts. And I could not wait to get into bed and scroll through my phone on my Pinterest board about all my desserts I was going to make after the show. And I would look at food reviews, I would look at junk food, and it was like my guilty pleasure. And I don't do that anymore, ever. I mean, I look at things, I'm like, oh, that's good. But it was food porn, essentially, like what it was. I was like, oh my God, yes. I'm like getting so turned on with all of these. Like, I can't wait. It is kind of fucked up. And so I know a lot of people who still struggle with that a bit. So again, symptom of the actual problem. Poor relationship with food is a real struggle that takes a lot to overcome. There's a lot of psychology around restriction. All right, I've restricted myself. I have done all these things when it comes to changing up my food quality and my food amounts. And essentially what happens is whenever you're dieting, your diet is just what you eat. So when I say dieting, I'm saying low calories, low macros. Oh my gosh, I just realized that as I use glamnetic nails, because I hate sitting in the nail salon for hours at a time and paying a ton of money for me just to rip them off. And so I use glamnetic. They have not sponsored this video, and I just realized I didn't have it. This is me. I'm just showing up anyways. That's hilarious, and I'm dying inside. So when you are dieting, typically we are doing this because we need external validation, or we don't love the way that we look, and there's some sort of worth tied to let's get leaner, let's lose weight, let's look at the scale. The scale is going to determine whether we are happy or not. So we kind of need to take a step back and see, okay, why did we do this in the first place? Totally okay to love your body and still want to change it. It's totally okay to know that, hey, fuck, like I have more in me. This is not my potential. I can do better. That is okay. What is not okay is saying, I look like shit. I am not worthy unless I'm lean. A certain number on the scale defines my worth, defines my success, defines my mood. That's where it gets a little bit of a slippery slope. So coming out of that is challenging because you've wrapped your whole entire identity in cutting, in dieting, and either a couple things happen. We rebound really bad, or we just stay eating very little because we're loving the way that we look, and we think that more food just means more weight gain, which is going to make me unhappy. I've also been there too, which I'm going to talk about in a later episode. So either we rebound hard or we just stay eating very, very little calories. Typically, it's those two. Not many athletes take themselves through a very successful reverse diet or metabolic restoration phase. I have yet to meet somebody who comes on for coaching and says, yeah, I lost the weight that I wanted to lose. And then I just slowly reversed up my calories and I increased my metabolism. And I did this over time. No one says that. That is the only way that you get on the other side of this. That's the only way that you get on the other side of dieting. So, okay, let's say you lose 20 pounds. Let's say you want to maintain that around close to that. The only solution is to restore your metabolism and slowly eat more over time. That's the only way. No one does that on their own. It's because it's really fucking hard. Most fitness coaches who hire us for that because they're really great at dieting. They're really great at getting lean. It's really mentally hard to slowly increase your food and potentially see that scale go up or like put on just a tiny little bit of body fat that your body actually really needs to survive and thrive. Nobody really goes through that very well. So either those two things happen. Either you just stay eating very little calories or you binge and you gain it all back is mostly what happens. I want to tell you that it's okay. If you fall in either of those two categories, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you. First things first, we cannot change something unless we are aware of it. And so that's what I'm helping you do right now, getting aware of where you might be at. Things happen in our life to make room for what's to come and for who we're supposed to evolve into. Usually, it requires going through what we call the dark forest. Just like a fairy tale, just like any storyline in a movie. In the middle, it's this dark forest where something is happening. The main character is going through some sort of turmoil, but stories do not start or they do not end in the dark forest. So think about it like that. If you're going through something right now with your health, with your physique or anything, and you're in the dark forest, you are going to get out on the other side of it. And it's really hard to see that, especially when you're in the thick of it, I know, but you will get out of there. Awareness, you're going to be okay, and remove that shame and guilt from getting in this position. Because if you hold on to that shame and guilt, you will not be able to move forward because you're going to be carrying all that shit mentally with you, and it will affect whatever you're trying to do moving forward. So that's the work that you need to do is like release that shame and guilt and say, hey, okay, this is the issue. I'm going to be okay. And I have to release that shame and move forward. If you can do those three things, you are on your way to healing your relationship with food. Yay. So let's talk about what doesn't work when it comes to healing our relationship with food. What doesn't work is just looking at things and saying, I just need to be more disciplined. You're probably a very disciplined person. You're probably a very high performing woman, athlete, former athlete. You likely don't have a discipline problem. Your body is just trying to protect you and trying to say, bitch, no, feed me. Because physiologically, I need more food. But mentally, you're saying, nope, you're good. You're good. You don't need that. And we just need to be disciplined and just eat off of this strict meal plan or eat under a certain amount of calories. But your body is screaming for help. So it's not a discipline problem. It's a physiology problem. Remove the words cheat meal or cheat days from your vocabulary. When we hear the word cheat, we associate shame, guilt. So I can't fucking believe, and this is going to piss me off, and like, just get ready for this. There's coaches out there who still talk to their clients about cheat meals and cheat days. Like, what in the actual fuck are we doing? It is 2026. That language should be dissolved in the human dictionary. Cheat days and cheat meals. It promotes this shame and guilt. And what did I just say that you needed to release if you're going to move forward in this journey? Shame and guilt. So when you're like, oh, cool, I get a cheat meal or I get a cheat day, like, what in the actual fuck are we doing? No, we cannot be calling it cheat meal, cheat day anymore. So remove that from your brain. I just had an athlete. I brought her on about a month or two ago, and she said cheat meal. And I said, remove that from your brain. Remove that word from your brain. Okay, this is not 2018. This is not 2019. We're not doing that anymore. Because that mentality is the very same reason why you're likely in this spot. What I like to do with my athletes instead is say, okay, like, we're going to have an untracked meal, or we're going to have a free meal, or we're going to have an intuitive eating day. See the difference there? Then it's like, oh, this is a strategic non-tracking day. And we'll get to why tracking is so important here in a minute. This is a strategic thing, not a fuck it. I'm gonna like fucking eat some pizza, ice cream, and you're just gonna feel like shit. And then you're just gonna want to restrict yourself, binge, restrict, binge over and over and over again. So I swear, if you come at us saying cheat meal and cheat day, we're gonna say no. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. And then lastly, what does not heal your relationship with food is avoiding tracking it out of fear. We'll talk to women and they'll say, I'll ask them, have you ever tracked your macros before? And they're like, I have, but in the past, I got really, really obsessed with it. So I would prefer not to do it again. What I'm hearing, I hear that you don't trust yourself enough to have that structure. You don't trust yourself enough to have that structure again, because tracking is awareness. Tracking is not toxic. Anything can be toxic. I clocked a 14-hour day the other day. Somebody's like, that's toxic. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have to ask my boss to leave 10 minutes early. I think that's fucking toxic. Anything can be toxic, but it's your approach with it. It's your intention with it. So tracking is not toxic. It is your intention with it. It is what you are labeling it. It's what the power that you're giving it. You're avoiding awareness and you're avoiding structure, not how we heal. Just like if you have something heavy going on in your life, if we just avoid it and sweep it under the rug, do you think that you're going to heal from that? You might think that artificially that you've healed from that, but when that wound pops up again, you're like, I did not do that. I did not do the work. We have to have awareness. And there's ways to step into that slowly to build your self-trust again. But we don't say that having awareness is toxic. So the way that we talk about healing our relationship with food here at Evolve, we go through 4 steps. Step 1 is regulate your nervous system and stress. Step 2 is stabilizing your intakes. Start getting consistent. We're not looking for perfection. Step 3 is rebuilding your trust with structure. So that is going to involve tracking. And step 4 is identity reframe. And these steps don't take a certain amount of time. It's really just, okay, focus on this, and this. And this could even take you a month, less than a month. Maybe it takes you a week, because it's more so about it's more so about saying, okay, I need to make sure I'm identifying and adopting these behaviors, and then I'm good to go. So maybe it's more like pillars, like 4 pillars of healing. So pillar 1, I'm going to go with the pillars because I like that better. 1 is about regulating your nervous system, healing your mind and saying, hey, it's okay. You're going to be okay. So focusing on getting in enough sleep, recovering from your training, journaling about what's coming up for you when you have this resistance. Whenever there's resistance, I encourage you to lean in. Why are you having this resistance? Usually it's because we don't trust ourselves to have this structure again, because we're holding on to the past. I just talked about that earlier. If you can't let go of that shame and guilt, you can't let go of the past, you cannot and you will not move forward. Pillar 2, we're going to talk about consistency over perfection. So maybe for you, you are in the camp of, I am under eating and I'm not eating a lot because I'm nervous to eat more. And so maybe you're not eating 3 complete meals a day. We'll start there. 3 meals of protein, healthy carbohydrate, healthy fat, veggie. Let's focus on that like for a week, 2 weeks, rebuild that confidence with just being consistent. Again, consistency is the number one needle mover, not perfection. I would rather you show up consistently and imperfectly instead of perfectly and inconsistently. And you can fucking quote me on. Pillar 3 is we do need to have awareness of our intake. That is self-respect. It is important to know what we are intaking. We are not a dumpster where we're just throwing shit in and we don't even know what's happening. That's avoidance of structure. So we do need to start tracking it. And maybe it's not counting every single macro to the gram right now. Maybe it is just writing your shit down of like what you've done today. Maybe it's just tracking how much protein you're getting in during the day. Most women we coach end up tracking. They do, because they realize that it's the most efficient way to get to where you want to be. And when we look at it in a different light, instead of, oh, I have to stay under these macros, it's about hitting enough of the right food, enough of the protein, enough of the healthy carbs, enough of the fats, enough of the fiber. Then it's a whole shift. And that brings me to pillar 4 is that identity shift. I'm not tracking for restriction. I am tracking for self-respect. I am tracking because awareness precedes change. I am tracking because I love myself. I am tracking because I need to eat enough of the right foods. So shifting from I'm controlling and restricting to I am practicing self-awareness and self-love as an athlete, because that's what athletes do who love their body and who love themselves and who go on to see success is I'm tracking these things. We cannot manage what we do not measure. If you wanted to get better at your finances and you wanted to save money, but you tell me you don't have a budget, like what are we doing? We have to have awareness. And let me be really real with y'all for a second. You're going to be healing for the rest of your life. I would be lying to you guys if I don't sometimes slip back into a certain mindset. I would be lying to you if I didn't feel sometimes like, oh, I feel a little bit bingey. But I asked myself, okay, why do I feel this way? Oh, you know what? It's because I haven't eaten in 5 or 6 fucking hours and I'm just hungry and I'm just reaching for what's available. And maybe I have one Oreo, I put it in my macros, and then I go on and I make my dinner and I'm fine. Whereas before, I wasn't tracking anything and I would eat 10 Oreos and then I'd get upset with myself because I had binged. Bitch, you were hungry. Eat your food. Eat your real food. You'll see a lot of people say, oh, you should be able to have sweets in your home and feel totally fine. I love that. I think that is great. And that could be a great end goal to get to. But during this phase, if you're somebody who knows what your weakness is, or you feel like you might be self-sabotaging yourself if you're bringing in candy in your home, just don't bring it in your home. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would rather you set yourself up for success now and not bring any of those things home, getting to a point where you could one day, and now you're like, oh, I can have like 1 or 2 and I'm good. There was a while where I would not bring in any sweets or any snacks in the house. And sometimes people are like, oh, that's toxic. You should be able to bring it. But like, I'm working on it. Okay. Like I'm working on it. And because I'm working on it, I need to not self-sabotage. It's like, let's just have some fun for a second. You're texting this guy who you don't want to be texting. You know you shouldn't be texting him for whatever reason. And you broke up. There's a reason why you broke up. And you're working on, kind of just like removing needing him from your life. You should not be texting him, because if you keep texting him, that's never going to get any better. So same thing applies to bringing in food in the house that it's not even that you like shouldn't be having it. It's because it makes you feel like shit. It makes you actually feel like shit. So if you know that certain foods make you feel like shit, but you keep bringing them in, it's like, why are we self-sabotaging ourselves? Why are we doing this? And that's like what pillar 1 is, asking yourself, why do I self-sabotage why am I, in this spot? And then how can I get out of this? It's not, I'll just like text him every once in a while just to like practice my self-control. Sounds kind of fucked, doesn't it? So why would you do that to yourself when it comes to your nutrition? So healing takes a long time. It just does. But food freedom is really fucking dope once you get on the other side of it. It's so liberating to not have food control every single thought you have. It's so liberating to decline food, decline alcohol, decline things that you just don't actually want. Not decline it because you quote unquote can't have it, because you don't actually want it. It's so fun to be like, I don't actually want dessert, instead of like, oh, all right, now where's my sweet treat? I have to have my sweet treat. When I was little, most likely we all have dealt with this. It's always dessert. We always get dessert after dinner. We always get ice cream after dinner. That's a thing. And that definitely carries over into your adult life. And it's so liberating to not have to need that anymore. For me, a big thing to help me with my food freedom was removing myself from the environment that I was in, and then also tracking more of my intake, getting aware of my intake, tracking my macros, realizing that I could have foods that are yummy and still fit with and still fit within my macros. And I felt good. I felt good because I wasn't over consuming them. Food freedom is so real and it's just so exciting. And I love when we see our athletes hit that as well, because to be honest, anybody can hit a physical goal. But when we reach the mental goals and then we keep our physical goal and not backslide, it's so fucking cool. And you have every opportunity to do the same for yourself. So I hope this was helpful. Remember our 4 pillars. If you did not see the episode last week, definitely go back and watch that. Maybe this will make a little bit more sense to you. Remember that tracking food is not toxic. It is self-awareness, and having self-awareness is having self-respect. Okay? I love you so much, and you're going to get through this. If you feel like you're in the thick of it right now, I promise you, you will not stay there. But we have to make the steps to change, or we will stay there. So, mwah, love you guys. We'll catch you on the next one.